Ou deixa sua bunda ardendo, ou dá tapa, 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 cara. Welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now, exploring your inner authority. I'm Michele Jones.
And I'm Scott Collins.
And this is the place to connect with your highest, most essential self, your most empowered self, where you can explore your inner authority and learn from others and learn more about yourself.
We talk with fascinating people from all walks of life about transformation, healing, hypnosis, astrology, physical experience of being human, and heart-centered living.
We're so thankful that you're here with us. Let's dive right on in. Hey there, welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now. I'm Michele Jones, and I'm here with the guy that just blew smoke in your face, with Scott Collins. And we're here today. It's a weird, but yet a fun and kind of like meaningful day. And this is our pilot episode. This is like our launch of a podcast that we're hoping to bring to folks to help them to explore their inner authority. And so today's episode of Empowerment Unleashed Now is kind of just who we are, kind of introducing ourselves. And then we're in America, so it's election day. And we're going to talk about being your own president, sovereign nation of one, and kind of how that is possibly an empowering thought that you might want to kind of, I don't know, just consider. So with that said, Scott, why don't you say hi since you blew smoke in everybody's face?
I'm Scott. Welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now. It's been a long time coming, and I think the stars have aligned perfectly for us to be here with you guys today. I'm glad you chose sovereignty as our topic today, because I think it couldn't be a more pivotal time for each and all of us to completely take the power and responsibility into our own hands for our own ascension, where we want to go in life, regardless of who's in any political office or regardless of anything.
Well, we're kind of getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Like, who are you? Like, why should these people even like be listening to us? Like, who are we? Who are you? Like the caterpillar from like Alice in Wonderland with a big hookah.
Well, I would, in regards to listening to us, I would advise you, right from the get-go, trust your intuition. What's your read on us? Are you feeling our frequency and our vibe? Is it something that's where you're at? And if you're feeling that, then hang out with us. If it's not your vibe, your frequency, put yours out there and you'll attract what it is that you're looking for. Who am I? I am a temporary earthling.
Temporary earthling.
Here to attract experiences to myself that my higher self needs in order to possibly reach ascension by the time I'm done with this earth life.
All right. I don't know if I want to claim him as my brother from another brother now, but yes, that's just like totally from another star system. Yeah, so galactic consciousness right off the bat. I would say that part of what Scott is getting at is obviously he has an expanded awareness and expanded consciousness, but like, what do you bring to the world? Like, you're a musician.
Oh, yeah.
Could you like talk about some of that stuff?
Sure, I don't like to, but so I'm a musician. Done that professionally for about 20 plus years. I have a degree in theoretical physics and mathematics and engineering. I've studied herbs and plants for about 13, 14 years as a means of holistic and alternative healing. I've worked with plant medicine myself and others. I studied conversational hypnosis and hypnotherapy for a few months. Am I missing something, Michele?
I would say like crypto and real estate investor.
Yes, I studied economics quite a bit as well, and do have feelings about where we're headed with decentralization and what that can do for civil rights and human rights on our planet.
Yeah, bro, for sure. I mean, and literally Scott and I, like, have joked around, but really like a very brother sisterly connection. Um, in terms of like, oh, and astrology.
Yeah.
I
I
forgot.
failed to mention the
That's
thing I'm
it.
most passionate about, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
hello.
I
So,
studied all that physics just so I could finally find astrology.
yeah.
I realized too. So, but I feel like I have such reverence for so many of the truly adept astrologers out there. I would never call myself an astrologer, but it is a language.
Yes.
Right, right. Enthusiast and a language that I'm learning better and better, and I love to speak in.
And it's really a language of like numbers and it's a language of
Tone.
tone.
So it combines math and music and
Mhm.
physics and all of
Totally.
those things. And, if you've ever sat in a room with sound bowls, Tibetan bowls, or, been in a sound bath, basically that's what the planets are doing to us all the time.
That's a great description.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very.
Ways in helping us.
So, like, all of that, like, studying and all that you've done, like, wouldn't you say that that's been a source, like, for you, learning is empowerment, obviously, right? But applying it, like, not just learning it.
Yeah, yeah, and when I think about all of that, it almost felt like jibber jabber coming out of my mouth. There was so many things, but I was recently reminded about. You'll learn that I love to quote Bruce Lee,
Yeah.
and Bruce Lee created, a martial art master. I'm going to look up the name of him. He created his own version of martial arts called Jeet Kune Do. But what it was, it took all the other martial arts and combined it. He took his intuition, his uniqueness, his eccentricity, and was like, why can't I create something uniquely me?
Wow. Yeah.
And so he created his own martial art. And that's, I feel like, Empowerment Unleashed Now, if there's a mission statement, it's for us to individually do that, me and you, but then also help and encourage everyone to create their own martial art. Like become your own like black belt at the things that inspire you, drive you, that resonate with you in frequency, and that you can achieve mastery over, and then help yourself maneuver for any experience that you attract to yourself in your life. When you have that black belt in your martial art, you'll be able to reframe any trigger as a prompt. You'll be able to respond differently to any experience that you attracted to yourself to grow.
Yeah. So as I was listening to you introduce yourself, I was thinking to myself, wow, this is really interesting because, as I was saying, like, we think of like, you're a Capricorn sun, I'm a Cancerian sun, right? Like, that's like part of like that bro sister thing, the yin, the yang. And I didn't realize until just now the similarities of how we've kind of tapped in to who we are and some ways that we found empowerment in the world because I would say that, like by degree, right? By degree, I'm a theologian and a minister with a math, minor and philosophy, like a double minor. But my master's is in theology. I went into education, which you forgot to mention that you do education at like a really high level, like with tennis, like a tennis pro, like that's like, another educational overlap. And for me, I now work with people. So I spent 12 years, like in education in a Montessori setting where I think the greatest influence around education and empowerment happened for me there because from within, I was able to observe kids children just growing and flowing and just doing them in really profound ways that I didn't see out in the world. And so, I was an educator. I got into holistic and integrative, you know, different kinds of health practices because I was curious and I wanted like another way for myself. And I never thought that I would end up doing what I do. So for y'all who are listening, I'm a colon hygienist. I'm a hypnotherapist. I also am somebody that has worked with sound work, light, frequency, just helping folks to really plug into their own vibration, like create their own frequency, like who they want to be out in the world. And I've done this now, I guess, between an educational career and now this whole Nashville colon care. It's been a minute, like it's been 20 years that I've been doing this. And so helping people to reach their, I don't even want to say potential because it's more like claiming their soul back, like their purpose. So for me, a belief that I hold is like we have soul contracts, right? Like we signed up for Earth School supposedly, the sovereignty that we have around creation on planet Earth is supposed to be like the greatest gift in the universe. Like supposedly that's why extra dimensionals have an interest in us. And, like I've heard things like that from, people that channel, like Wendy Kennedy is somebody that I listen to. Braca Goldsmith was somebody that I would listen to. And so in learning that our creation ability as well as our range of emotion, which is, I think, where a lot of us are learning how to empower ourselves through emotion.
Right, and you're right. That is what's unique about Earth is the emotional field.
Yeah,
And you're
the
right.
range.
And that's why when we get selected or choose or to come in to Earth School, why it's have such a heavy experience because the emotional field here is very unique to not just our solar system but our galaxy.
Sure.
And why it's hard for other beings to be here because they're not used to the density of the emotional field here, and largely responsible by our moon. The proximity size of our moon compared to our planet, and we only have one, is like so much bigger than most
Totally.
planets out there. So like, yeah, our emotions are I believe, our highest form of intelligence. Like that's our feelings are our highest form of intelligence, and learning how to assess, notice that as that electricity runs through our body, a far more powerful form of intelligence than our mind. Really, our mind should just be like an accomplice to what our heart and our emotion and feelings are um, telling us.
It's kind of astounding when you think about like the ability that we do have as a sovereign nation of one, right?
Yes.
So like how this whole thing came to be, which is kind of funny, is obviously I interface with people, all day long coming in and out of my office, and folks were starting to, I would say about a week or so ago, feel the intensity, right? And we were also, whatever, it's daylight savings time. Like, that's so weird. Like, I think, like, we said, like, we don't even want to do this anymore. And yet we keep doing it, right? Because, like, Congress didn't pass something. I don't even know. So people are starting to feel like the darkness. People are starting to feel the light is changing, right? Like, we're going into, like, a new season. And there was that great Halloween thing going on. And a lot of Scott's like one of his favorite. And for me, it's like I would just, yeah, I would, but Scott enjoy it. So, like, one of the things that I think folks started really feeling was a lot of the collective in a very, very innocent way. And I think that it's pandemic related. Like there was like a behavioral patterning that we were being told information that we were somehow supposed to just like digest it and and even believe it, right? Like digest it and believe it. And so a lot of folks have felt, I would say, a shift away from like newsy news and more towards social media. But that's been a really interesting sticky wicket for people. And you and I, Scott and I, ironically, like we're just going to like have to like just venture into social media because neither of us have participated in this. But like I hear, what people share. And I find this whole concept of being a sovereign nation of one, like it came to pass because as an educator, middle school was kind of like a passion of mine. Like I loved being with middle schoolers. When everybody couldn't stand them, I would be like, yes, send them my way. They're awesome. And so when I would be with middle schoolers, the thing is you have to be super concise, like as few words as possible. Because why? Because everybody's starting to learn their emotions. And they're learning their emotions in a developmental way in a Montessori environment where they're interfacing with each other all the time. It's an open classroom, right? So it's not like people are sitting in desks, they're not limited. And so there were times that you'd have to navigate the anxiety, the pressure. I mean, like people just remember middle school. Like that's all I have to say to people is middle school. And some people are like, oh my God, I'm breaking a sweat already. Like gross. So sure enough, kids make you dial in your words to what's the most salient thing. And so when my clients are coming in the last like week, I figured like, what am I going to say to them about this? Like, how am I going to talk about like this election? And really like, I felt their stress, right? I'm an empath. So I decided that I was going to come up with like one of those little catchy phrases, but that it would stick. And so one of my clients was like, Shell, what do you think is going to happen? Like, he said, you know what? I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. But what I do know, and for me, this is my truth. I know that God is still going to be God. I know that the earth is going to kind of keep doing what she's doing, right? And I know that the sun is going to rise in the east. It's going to set in the west. And I know that I can be my own president.
And I know that I am in control of my life.
That's what being your own president is.
Yes.
Be your own president. And so see, it makes people are just like, it makes them smile. It's an unconscious response, right? Like people are like, I want a shirt that says that. And for me, that's when like as a hypnotherapist, that you've shifted just a little bit, like you've opened a window, right? Where you could possibly accept, might be the thought of a crazy woman, but it's kind of catchy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so that's my hope, my prayer, and like what I want for people to get out of this first like pilot episode. I feel like we've had like 30 pilots, but like this episode, but the pilot episode, I think the concept of self-sovereignty and exploring being your own president. I'm sorry, I don't know if we can cuss on this, but I think that's fucking rad.
We can cuss.
Like be your own president.
Yeah.
Like, why has nobody ever said that to me before? Like fucking A, like that is a concept. And so I just believe that if we can approach this, that no matter who, right?
Yeah.
We've got us. And like, if you're your own president, you're governing yourself, right? You're also exploring new policy within you, right? You're creating like different kinds of structures, and new ideas. Just think the opposite of governmentally what we've done in America. And those are all the possibilities for you as your own president.
Right.
And truly,
Option C, it's not just A and B.
it's not just A and B. I'm all about the Chinese food menu, right? And so like you need column C.
Yeah, at least.
Right?
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
won't lend to this.
But who else, when you think about it, who else could really be like your own president except for you, like of you. If somebody told me that when I was in kindergarten, I would have been like, and if I kept hearing it, like elementary school, no, by the time a child gets to middle school, high school, what would that do?
Well, one thing it does is it helps program and create an unconscious mind that believes in uniqueness, originality, individuality, and expression over conformity, limitation, oppression. That's one thing. So like not only like bravery at first, but then just a comfortableness and leaving your thoughts and your expressions and your belief systems can be uniquely yours, and you don't have to conform to those of anyone else's.
Yeah.
And to not feel a sense of oppression or fear because of that.
Right.
Which what I really hope, believe, and pray we're headed towards. The astrology is supporting us. We're like right in our last the home stretch of the Derby with Pluto. Yeah, it's like it's leaving. I feel like it's the Derby, and the horse is just like we're the line, the finish line of Aquarius is
Really?
a couple weeks
I
away.
feel like Darth Vader is in the room. I mean, what? I know it's real. What's
And I'm Capricorn.
what's serious?
so-
Right.
So I was just like, I'm on Secretariat right now, and like headed there. I can't wait because
The world is dying because the sun has left us. That's how I'm feeling as a Cancerian right now. No, I'm not.
But I mean, from Pluto's perspective, it's been in my sign for 60 years. So
You've been like, whoa. And there's another thing is that if anybody out there listening knows astrology, like how, if you want to bring it home with Pluto in Capricorn over the last 15, 16 years, is if you look at your Pluto placement, like I know like my Pluto is at 20 degrees and it is with
you are Virgo, I believe, aren't you?
is it a 20-degree Virgo? I think it is. Yeah, it's not set. No, because I'm
Well,
getting
mine's Libra, 6 degrees, and yours
Yes.
is slightly before mine.
slightly before.
Not a
Okay,
degree,
that
but
makes sense.
yeah.
And so, like, for me, what I learned is that I was kind of like, I don't know, what do you call a female wizard? Wizardess? Wizard.
A wizard?
A wizard. A wizard. So, sorry, this Spaniard in me is like, what do you call 'em? I thought you would know.
Wizard.
So, like, yeah, so I had somebody point that out to me, like in coaching that I'm doing, and I was like, okay. And so he is like, so for you, this is like your big launch. And it totally did a reframe. It was kind of like somebody saying, like, hey, kid, be your own president. Like, this is like a big shift. Like, I literally think that where some of the cultural angst has come in the collective consciousness is because we believe that there is a right way and a wrong way. And I think that if we can go into the neutral way and give up that polarization, because that's where we give away our power, right? Like empowerment is something you have to claim, similar to freedom.
Right.
You don't ask for it. You actually just kind of go and you get it.
Yeah, it's a choice.
It's a choice.
That you can achieve by recognizing the intelligence of your feelings and emotions, and then allow the sea to come. Either choose a bird's eye view if that's where your neutrality lies, or choose to just flow with the stream.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between neutrality and numbness, right? I think we should just clarify that, because I had a conversation with someone recently when I was talking about neutrality, and they just said, well, numbness is a sign of depression.
Yeah, no, you're actually holding both.
Right. There's a big difference between neutrality and numbness. Yeah.
You're holding like both energies. If it's just like two things that you're talking about, right?
Exactly.
That, neutrality, you could hold more than two things. Like we're
Yes.
capable of holding
Yes. Everything.
everything. Yes, ultimately, yes. But in
Yes.
terms of what the mind is actually, there's about like 7 bits, right?
Right.
And then it's going to start
Yes. Yes.
popping stuff out.
Yeah.
So for me, what I think is intriguing about this is that when we start to realize the disempowerment, like through things like caring about, now I voted, I care, you and I, bro. I mean, like we know each other. Like, so we talk about geopolitical stuff, we talk about our currency, we talk about freedoms, we talk about the Constitution. Like we talk about like deep stuff. So it's not the numbness.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's not the numbness.
Neutrality, I think, is accessed by awareness. That would be one of the biggest differences between numbness and neutrality is you access neutrality because of the awareness of your feelings and emotions being prompted by an experience. And, you can learn techniques. Obviously, meditation is a big one, but, breath, there's, again,
What do you
the martial arts. You can learn your techniques.
spell the martial arts? Spell it for our listeners.
I'm spelling it for myself too because I've never written it down.
Don't trust the spelling, y'all.
I guess it would be
It's with
MEE, MERTIAL, but
Wow.
MEERTIAL, I think would have to.
Myrtle.
Mu-
Martial? Martial arts.
Yeah.
Nice. So this whole idea of sovereignty, empowerment, claiming it, where we want to go with this ultimately for folks is that people can listen and explore their inner authority and explore their own empowerment.
Yes.
Because that's ultimately, I think, the most sovereign position is from an empowered, neutral stance where you are receptive to all possibilities because you're not limiting yourself by saying this. Well, obviously, and you and I, we've talked about this too, brother, is there are things that are just wrong. For me, harming another person physically is just wrong. There are hard stops on that, right? Because you're in violation of somebody's like sovereignty, right? Like you can't, like it's not cool. So in terms of the healthy range of limitless possibilities, I think is a very empowering posture that was deconditioned out of us a little bit and made us ripe for the picking for polarization over the last decade in particular, with the connect of realizing that we don't have neutrality with media. We don't have neutrality with each other, right? And so I just want for folks that are listening to this to realize that the unleashing part is like taking yourself off of or out of any chains, right?
Yes.
That are constraining that ability for you to claim your self-sovereignty and feel like the empowered being that you are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And to just support one another and having the bravery to do that, because depending on what your situation's like in your life, the people around you, family you were born into or not, you're, it may be challenging. It may take some bravery. So
Courage, right?
Yeah,
Straight the heart, courage.
Yes.
And I think that's where,
That's right here.
and I was going to say to people, the greatest empowerment tip that I could possibly give today to folks, and then you're going to hit them up with an affirmation, bro, is I could say that loving oneself is to allow for the greatest amount of empowerment And how you do that is by plugging into the heart
Yeah.
and asking your heart, what does this feel like? Because that won't betray you.
Oh, I agree. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there with what does this feel like? When you identify that, then really sit with that and imagine your whole life with that. Like that's how you want your life to feel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's a moment, and then you can just think it in, out there that's how you want your life to feel. Don't worry about the details, but that feeling. And then no matter what detailed experience comes before your way, like that's your feeling. That's your compass.
Your compass.
Yeah.
So if you had to give an affirmation or meditation
Yeah.
for our listeners, bust it, bro.
Bust it.
Bust it.
I am in control of my life because I'm capable of powerful, positive change. I easily see, feel, speak, know, and stand in my truth. I love and approve of myself. I love myself, and I love myself some more. That's for you.
Right on, bro.
That's your thing.
Thank you. Yes, loving himself and loving himself some more. We'll talk about that. It's a good one, man. So thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you guys. It's so nice to meet you. We can't wait to like grow with you and flow with you. And just remember to stay empowered and just unleash yourself. Peace out, y'all. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Empowerment Unleashed Now. Please subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and let us know how this helped you.
Join us right here every week for another episode.